you visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
So yesterday we discussed about the in-memory database and how the in-memory database is going to be working and what is the redirecting process of tables and everything. Okay. Just hold on one second. So there is a document called as, I'll just show one document. Okay. So it is there for 2020 also. It is also there for 2020 also. This is called as a simplification list for SAP S4HANA 19.1. If you want a simplification list for 2020 also, we have the simplification list for the 2020. So I just, okay, I'll get you the simplification list. Okay, if I go to the Google, so we can directly download.
Mahesh, I have a question regarding those tables. Like
Okay.
You have a CDS and the transparent. What is a structured table? It's structure.
Cluster.
Sorry, structure.
Structure, there is no meaning of structure for the structure is always going to be called as actually see whenever we go back to your SAP ECC, the ECC system is completely based on the dual stock. One is going to be called as the ABAP stock, another one is going to be called as the Java stock. Earlier, your programming has been written based on the dual stock application, that is the Java, and another one is going to be called as the ABAP stock. Now in SAP S4HANA, we are making the application at a single stock level. There is no Java stock now today onwards. We have only called it the ABAP stock. So the structured tables are maintained only for the compiling of the data actually. So according to the sequentially order. So which table has to come, which table has to go for second, which table has to go for third. So it is going to be called as the structurally based tables. Actually, it helps us to materialize the database tables to compile the data and give the report back to you. So that is only for the reporting purpose we are going to be using. But for any kind of transactional data, posting of any transactional data, master data, these are not the structural tables. These all are going to be called as the transparent tables in our SAP S4HANA. Clear now? If you want, I'll show one example also, not a one.
Yeah, one example. I think
I'll show that. Yeah, I'll show that. See here, this is what exactly we call it as SAP S4HANA simplification list for the 2020 initial shipment stock. Okay, and we can call it as a future service stock 1 and 2. What is this initial shipment stock and the future service pack? Okay, 1 and 2. For every release, you go into the SAP S4HANA. Every release, you go in SAP S4HANA. Every release. Today, we are in SAP S4HANA 2020. So when you talk about the SAP S4HANA 2020, we are talking about the application. We are not talking about the database. We are talking about the application. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. Application we are going to be talking. What is the application we are using? We are using the application called as the S core, S4 core or S core. We can call it as the S core is nothing but our application. Earlier, what is the application we are using before we come into the SAP S4HANA? It is called as ECC, Enterprise Central Component. Enterprise Central Component. Today, it is going to be called as the next generation business suite. Very, very, very important. We call it as, what is the application we call it as? Next generation business suite. We call it as the next generation business suite. That application we call it as a S core is nothing but our new application, which is simplified, which is very much simplified comparing with your SAP ECC. This application was built on the underlying database. We call it as the SAP HANA as a database. The underlying database, which is going to be called as the SAP HANA as a database. SAP HANA as a database. The database version is 2.0. The latest database version, we call it as a 2.0 is the latest. This is database version number. But when I go to the application, we call it as the next generation business suite, which is completely built on a in-memory HANA database version. Very, very important here. So this S core is nothing but your application. And this S core is having a number that ECC 6.0, ECC 5.0, okay, SAP 4.6, SAP 4.7. Those are the application numbers. Okay, but this S-core, okay, when you talk about the S-core, which is going to be called as a kernel level application, this S-core is having a release version number. The release version number is called as the 105. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. We call it as a 105 release version number. If I see the application was built with 105 means nothing but it is called as the SAP S4HANA 2020 release. What happened if there is a version called as SAP S4 2020 now 1909? This 1909 application version number is 104. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. If I'm working on SAP S4 1809, 1809 is the application, and this application version number is going to be called as 103. So today we are in S-core 105. And this is called as the SAP S4HANA 2020. So this SAP S4HANA 2020 was released in the last year in the September, October. It was released in the month of September and October mid. Okay, so it is in the 2020. When it has released the first release, when it has come out with the release of SAP S4 2020, very, very important. It has come with initial shipment stock. Okay, it has come with initial shipment stock. Very, very important. With the initial shipment stock, every version will be having an initial shipment stock in the month of September, October. Then later on, after next quarter means, okay, after the initial shipment stock was released, after next quarter means in the month of January, okay, it has came out with same SAP S4 and the application version number will never change. The application version number is the 2020, but it has came out with future pack service. Okay, FPS, that is going to be called as the future pack service. Very, very important. With very, very important. This is all the things what we had to know here. With 01 future service pack 01, and in the month of May we came out with future service pack 02. Now SAP S4HANA is a release application number, and we have come out with 3 initial releases. One is initial shipment stock with feature service pack 01 and feature service pack 02. So there will be a lot of simplifications. Again, if you go into the each and every service pack level, if you go into the each and every service pack level, the initial service pack level consists the difference between the 18, that is SAP S4HANA 1909, FSPO 022 initial shipment stock. What are the differences? What are the simplifications? And if I go and compare between the initial shipment stock to the FSPS 01, then what are the simplifications have been happened in 2020 between initial shipment stock to future service pack 01? And if I go to the FSP 02, again, I would like to know what simplifications have been, what new. We can call it as a what new, WN document. That is what exactly we call it as a what new in SAP S4HANA 2020. We can call it as what new in SAP S4HANA 2020. This is very, very important, my dear friends. We have to understand this concept. What new in SAP S4HANA 2020? This is the document. This is the document. For example, I'm a client. For example, I'm a client for you. I'm a client for you. I already implemented SAP S4HANA 2020 with initial shipment stock. With initial shipment stock. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, with initial shipment stock. Now I want to upgrade my system. See the word which I'm going to be using called as upgrade. Very, very important. I want to upgrade my system from the initial shipment stock to FSP 02. That is nothing but future service pack 02. Future pack service 02. I want to upgrade my system. It's not the migration I'm talking about. It is upgrading my system from the initial shipment stock to features pack 02. Now, before I upgrade my system, first of all, the client wants to know what is the difference. What is the difference is there between the initial shipment stock to the features pack 02? If there is any difference is there, if there are any value addeds are there to my business process, then I can upgrade my system. If there are no value addeds are there, it is a very similar to the initial shipment stock. And even though whatever the value addeds which are going to be showing to me in the feature pack service 02, those are not applicable to my business. So I don't want to upgrade my system. So before I want to go for initial shipment stock to the FSPS 02, can you provide me the list of what new things you have been added? Anything you have added in the Fury? Anything you have added more simplifications related to the map process level? What new added you have? So you have to refer to the document called as the what new document, WN document. We call it as a WN document. So this is the SAP press release document. So we had to make the client to understand. So you have to go through the WN document to aware about what new changes have been brought between the initial shipment stock to the features pack service 02. Very, very important. So there is a document called as a what new document. We can call it as a what new document. So here, when I come here, this is what exactly WN. That is nothing but we can call it as a what new in SAP S4HANA 2020. Very, very important. This is another document actually. So what new in SAP S4HANA 2020? If I go to this document, this is called as the WN document. Very, very important. This is called as the WN document. That is what exactly we call it. What's new in SAP S4HANA 2020. So how it is different between, how it is going to be the difference between the normal simplification list and the what new document. The what new document will help you to understand. The what new document will help you to understand what are the new simplifications we have added in each and every component like asset management, health management, okay, the resource management and the finance side. If I go to the finance side, these are the new improvements or new simplifications or the new Fury apps, whatever maybe you call. Any further simplifications you are done comparing with your initial shipment stock to the features pack service 02. So if I go to the point number 3, in the content of the point number 3, these all the changes are applicable to my finance side. These all the changes are applicable to my finance side. So you can see up to the finance side, lot of changes have been happened. Lot of changes have been happened from the finance side. Okay, so till here. So this is the O data. Okay, this is SAP commodity, risk management, billing, okay, financial operation, treasury management. If I want to see here, till here, advanced compliant reporting till up to 202 page number from the page number 68. These all the changes have been happened. Some are going to be changes at a bank processing level. Some are changes have been happened at the financial planning level. Some of the changes have been happened at the closing, that is month-end closing level, general ledger accounting level. For example, if I go to the general ledger accounting, what changes have been done in the general ledger accounting? So this is the document. As a consultant, I should know what changes are there. Then only I can try to explain to my client, okay, your business is working on the initial shipment stock. If you upgrade your system to the next shipment stock, these are the simplifications further the SAP has been updated. Very, very important. Then if the client accepts and if the client goes through the documents, if you show some advantages, value adds for the upgrade, then he can ask you to the upgrade. Otherwise, it is not necessary to upgrade every initial shipment stock what SAP has been released. So this document is called as what new in SAP S4HANA 2020. For each and every shipment stock, SAP is going to release this what new in SAP S4HANA 2020. So before you refer this document, so I will ask everybody, you have to go to the document called as the simplification list for SAP S4HANA 2020. What is the simplification list for SAP S4HANA 2020? It talks about the simplifications, what we have done between the 1909 to 2020. Lot of simplifications have been done at the data structure level. We cannot done the simplification at a process level because very, very important, my dear friends. So if you take any client, if you take any business, the process is going to be the same. I don't want to change your process based on my technology. No, I had to modify. I had to revamp my SAP application according to meet your requirement. That is not something like, okay, you have to modify the requirement according to my business requirement. No. So for every business, it is very, very important that first they have to refer for the simplification list. What simplifications have been done in SAP S4HANA 2020? What simplifications have been done in SAP S4HANA 1909? So for every consultant, this is very, very important here. This is very, very important if there is a greenfield implementation is going to be happened. So this is what exactly we are going to be referring called as a future pack stock 1 and 2. It includes initial shipment stock, it includes the feature service pack 01, and it also includes the feature pack service 02. Means all the 3 pack services are available in the same simplification document. This is very, very important document, my dear friends. Very, very important document. Now, in this document, if I go to this document, I can see in in each and every component, what simplification the SAP has done. Okay, cross applications. You can see this is related to the cross application like this. If I go to each and every topic wise, I can see. So when I go to the finance side, this is the financial. This is the financial. Okay, from here. So from the finance side, if you see from the finance side, so data model changes in the finance. What are all the transaction codes and the programs which have been replaced? What plan data is not migrated to SAP S4HANA? So from here, the system is going to be talking about the simplifications between your SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA. Very, very important. Very, very important document this is. So now when I go to the finance side, what data model changes have been happened? Data model changes. What do you mean by data model? Anybody can tell me what is a data model? What is the data model for the general ledger accounting? Anybody in the class? What is the data model for general ledger accounting? What is the data model for the asset accounting? What is the data model for controlling?
Is it the
not
master
something
data?
about what, madam?
Is it the master data?
No, master, that's what I'm telling. You are not supposed to change your master data. Master data will remain as it is. You have to do something changes at the table level. So data structure changes means you're talking something about the table level. So what is the data structure for your SAP financial general ledger accounting? Yes, the data structure remains called as the BKPF. Another one is going to be called as the BSEC. Very, very important. What is the data structure for your asset accounting? When I go to the asset accounting, yes, asset accounting is having a different header table. ANEK is the header table. Okay. ANEA is the line item level table. ANLP is another line item table. ANEK is going to be like this. Okay. ANEP, ANEA, ANLP. Okay. These are LP. Okay. ANK, ANPA. Like these all are going to be called as the line item level tables for your asset accounting. Very, very important here. So now there is a change is there. There is a change is there at the data model change level. This is from the table point of view the SAP is talking, not from the application point of view, table point of view. So what is telling? You are doing a system conversion to the SAP S4HANA on-premise edition. The following SAP S4HANA transit worklist item is applicable in this case. Means what is telling? We have to understand that. We have to understand what is the changes have been done at the business value level. What solution the SAP is going to be providing. Okay. What is the tables which are not going to be available? These are going to be called as a table. Yes, yesterday we are talking some of the tables have been moved as the compatibility view tables, which are going to be called as the CDS view table. DDL SQL view tables, data definition language SQL view tables. So I want the list of the tables, Mr. Mahesh. What are all the tables which are not available in our SAP S4HANA comparing with your SAP ECC? So these are the list of the table. Very, very important. However, the right axis means you cannot write. Means what is the right axis? You cannot insert any database tables. You cannot upgrade. You cannot delete or you cannot modify. Only you can read the data based on using of compatibility. These all are going to be called as the backup tables. Yesterday I showed the example of backup table. For example, this is the original table. What is the backup table for this? BSAK_BCK. Very, very important. This is the backup table. For the controlling table, there is COSP primary cost element table and the secondary cost element table. What is the backup tables? BAK is the backup table. BAK. BCK is the FI tables. BAK is nothing but your controlling tables. BAK. So these all the tables are there. These all are going to be called as the original tables. You can see these all the original tables. Now they are not available in our SAP S4HANA and they have renamed with the compatibility view name. We call it as the DDIC compatibility view name, technical name. So further, if you come further, okay, see here, the points what I discussed. Compatibility view does not have the same name as the original name. Instead of the database interface, the DBA is nothing but database interface, redirects all that. This is the point from the last 2 classes we have explained. Redirecting process. Yesterday also we discussed about what is the redirecting process. It redirects all the related database tables with the select statement to the compatibility view, which retrieves the same data. Very, very important here. Which retrieves what type of data? Which retrieves the same data based on the new model. Now tell me now, this is called as the new model, which is also called as AC Doka table and so on. Now, as a consultant, it's very, very important that I would like to know what is this AC DOCA table. How it is a difference between my SAP ECC tables. What does this AC Doka stands for? Why do you call this AC Doka as the Universal Journal Entry Table? Now, what is SAP is telling? Instead of reading, okay, compatibility, which retrieve the same data, whatever the data you're going to be looking out for this above tables, which are not available, which have been moved to the compatibility view tables. What is SAP is telling? It will retrieve the same data on the new model called as AC Doka table. The connection between the table and the compatibility view is not created during the installation or with some tool. It will be happen automatically. Very, very important. As per the new data structure, we are not going to be giving any kind of connectivity between the compatibility view tables and the original tables. It will happen automatically based on the new data structure. And you can see here further, if you go below also, these all the tables are no more available. Yesterday I told it Flagel Flexa, Flagel Flexi, Flagel Flexa, COEP table, controlling table, there are asset accounting table. These all are going to be called as asset accounting table. Further, if you go back, I can see from the, okay, this is related to your material ledger tables. The material ledger tables are also not available. If you come down, many tables are there which are not available in SAP S4HANA. So if I want to know what are all the list of the tables which are not available in SAP S4HANA, you have to refer to the document called as the SAP Simplification List OP 2020. OP is nothing but on-premise 2020 PDF documents. Now let me talk about the data structure. Let me talk about the data structure. What is the data structure? Why the SAP is calling you it as a data structure? Why the SAP is calling you as a data structure? If I go back and see here, this is what exactly a data structure model in SAP Finance. What it is telling now? Mahesh, I'm there in SAP ECC. You are doing a system conversion to the SAP S4HANA on-premise. The following SAP S4HANA transition worklist applicable is going to be in this case. Very, very important. The universal gender signification changes where the transaction data is stored for the financial reporting. Yes, let me talk about that. Okay, see here. Very, very important. Now I'm referring to the SAP S4HANA 2020. Very, very important here. Yes, I'll go into the SAP. This is my SAP system. A on-premise SAP system. On-premise. Very, very. It is not a cloud. It is not a cloud. It is not a private cloud or it is not a public cloud. It is going to be called as the SAP S4HANA on-premise system, which is completely built on ABAP stock. Very, very important. Which is completely built on a programming language called as the ABAP stock. There is no Java stock from today onwards. It is going to be called as a single Unicode system. It is going to be called as a single Unicode system from today onwards, which is completely built on ABAP stock. Earlier, your SAP ECC built on dual stock. SAP ECC was built on the dual stock. One is the ABAP stock. Second one is going to be called as the Java stock. But today, if I go into the SAP, from the systems, and if I go into the status, see here. It is, I'm just going to the menu bar. I'm just selecting the systems and I'm going to the status. I'm going to the status. If I click on the status, I'll find the status screen here. I will find the status screen here. Whether the system is on the Unicode system, yes, it is completely built on your ABAP stock. It is completely built on your ABAP stock. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. And what is the database? The database always should be your HDB only. What is HDB? HANA DB. And what version you are using? 2.0 HANA DB version we are going to be using. What is your system name? The system name is going to be called as the SH9 is nothing but a system name. Now, if I go to the product version, if I click on the release of the details of the product version, see here, if I clicking on the details, here I can see now, here I can see there are so many components have been installed. Very, very important. There are so many components are there. What are all the components in SAP S4HANA 1919 or 2020? How do I know, Mr. Mahesh? Is it a 2020 or it is a 1919? Simple, very simple. If I go to the components, search for S4 core, S4 core here. Search for S4 core. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. Search for SAP S4 core. What is SAP S4 core? You're talking something about the application. Just now I told that application. your application was built on a new application called as S4 core is nothing but your application. Your system name, your business suite name is going to be called as SAP S4HANA 2020. That is the business suite name. But what is your application? The application was S-Core. So when I go to the application S-Core, what is the release number? The release number is going to be called as the 105. Very, very important, my dear friends. Means your SAP S4HANA is completely with S-Core called as the 105. Means it is the 2020 release, not 1909. It is a 2020 release. And which service pack level you're working? The service pack level we are working at the initial shipment stock, that is 00. It is not, as I told you, that it is the initial shipment stock, means it is service pack level 00 service pack level. It is not future pack service. It is not a future service pack 01. It is not a future service pack 02. So your system was completely built on initial shipment stock, which is going to be called as a 00. And you can see here it is 00. If I go to the installed product versions, here you can see it is SAP S4HANA on-premise 2020. Which initial shipment stock, very, very important. With the initial shipment means SP means support pack stock is nothing but you are working on initial shipment stock. Very, very important. It's SAP S4HANA 2020. But if you want to know the application number was built on 105 is nothing but your application. So you have built your system on SAP S4HANA 2020 with initial shipment stock. Very, very important. With initial shipment stock. Now, what is the data structure? We have to talk about the data structure. What is the data structure here? Yes. First, I'll talk about the SAP ECC. I'll go to the SAP ECC with the 6.0 because we want to know the difference between SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA. In SAP ECC, for each and every component, you can see for a GL, for asset accounting, for controlling, for material ledger, for COPA, we have a different data structures. We have a different data structures. Very, very important, my dear friends. For GL, if I go to the GL, what is the data structure for storing the financial accounting? One is going to be called as the BKPF. BKPF is nothing but we call it as a header table. We call it as a header table. Very, very important. I'm talking in SAP ECC. And there is the one more table we are going to be referring. We are going to be calling it as a BSIC. BSIC is always going to be called as a line item level table. Line item table. Why? Okay. Why I'm going to be talking only these two tables? Why not the index tables and why not the aggregate tables? Those index and aggregate tables are not the database tables. Very, very important. There are only two database tables are there for the GL. One is going to be called as the BKPF. Another one is going to be called as the BSIC table. Very, very important. What is a header table? Header table contains about the basic information about the transaction. What is the creation of the document date? What is the posting date? What type of document it is? For which company code? In which currency? Who has posted? Which system it has posted? Those are all the details we are going to be referring to the header table. What is a line item level table? A line item level table always talks about the GL accounts. Which account you're debited, which account you're created, how many line items you're posted, how many debit accounts are there, how many credit accounts are there, what is the amount, what is the cost center. These are all the things talks about the line item level table. Now, when I come to the SAP S4HANA, very, very important. The header table will remain as it is. There is no change in the header table. The header table always remains as the BKPF only. There is no change in the header table. There is no change in the header table. But there is a change which I observed in the line item level table. Now today we are talking about ACDOCA table. That is a new table called as Universal Journal Entry Table. We call it as Universal Journal Entry Table. Today onwards, this is the new line item level table in our SAP S4HANA. We call it as the Universal Journal Entry Table. What is this Universal Journal Entry Table? Yes, we have to talk about something about the Universal Journal Entry Table. This is very, very important, my dear friends, which is very, very important here. What is the Universal Journal Entry Table? Before that, I prepared some slides here. We can see some slides here. I'll talk about in each and every detail in a very detailed way. Very, very important. Yeah. Before that, I need to talk about the classic finance with SAP S4HANA finance. So this is a very important diagram. Actually, this is a very important diagram. We see there will be two set of GL accounts will be there. One is the balance sheet accounts. Another one is going to be called as the P&L accounts. P&L accounts always talks about the income and expenses, and the balance sheet accounts always talks about the assets and the liabilities. Assets and liabilities, very, very important. What is the central tenet of total accounting system? When you call it as a finance, when I call it as a finance, very, very important. I'm taking a finance module. I'm taking a finance, very, very important. SAP S4HANA finance. What is the central tenet of total accounting system? What is the central tenet of total accounting system? GL is going to be called as the central tenet of total accounting system. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important topic. Always you have to take the GL as the central tenet of total accounting system, which is going to be called as a general ledger. What is a ledger? What is a general ledger? Why do you call it as a general ledger? A general ledger is a book of accounting entries. A ledger is nothing but it is a book of accounting with entries which are going to be stored for the preparation of P&L account, and balance sheet is going to be called as a ledger. A ledger book. I'm maintaining some ledger books. What does it mean that? You're maintaining a separate ledger book for general ledger accounting. You're maintaining a separate ledger book for the payables. You're maintaining a separate ledger book for the receivables. So you're maintaining a different books of accounting entry for each and every transaction. So here, in my case, my central tenet of total accounting system, you call it as a general ledger. Very, very important, my dear friends. Without the GL, there is no financial accounting. Without the GL, there is no financial accounting. Very, very important. The general ledger is going to be called as the central tenet of accounting system, and all the GL postings which are going to be happening to my general ledger. GL will have only the GL accounts. GL will have only the GL accounts, no vendor accounts, no customer accounts, no asset accounts, no material accounts, nothing. When you call it as a general ledger, only you're talking something about the GL accounts only. Only you're talking something about the GL accounts. So any documents you have posted to the general ledger accounting, it will have only one view. What is that view? Is going to be called as the GL view. We can call it as a GL view. There are two types of views are there. One is the entry view. Another one is going to be called as the GL view. Very, very important topic. Very, very important topic. Point number one, what I told. What is the central tenet of total accounting system? GL is always going to be called as the central tenet of total accounting system. Without the GL, are you going to extract your P&L account and balance sheet? No. Without the GL accounting, are you able to see the balances of the GL accounts? No. Then there is no SAP. There is no preparation of P&L account and balance sheet. I will extract my P&L account and balance sheet only from the general ledger accounting, not from the sub ledgers like accounts payable, account receivable, asset accounting, or material ledger. So what is happening? GL is going to be having the reconciliation process. What is the reconciliation process? If I see this diagram, it is getting reconciled with your material ledger. It is getting reconciled with your asset accounting. It is reconciled with the business warehouse, COPA, and control. What does it mean then? Reconciliation. There is a reconciliation statement was built here. There is a reconciliation. You can see the arrow mark, inward and outward, inward and outward, inward and outward arrow marks you're going to be seeing. That is what exactly you call it as a reconciliation process. What is a reconciliation process? For example, I'll go small example here. I'll go to the small example. I'm going to be reconciling my a component called as asset accounting. Okay, this is the asset accounting. This is called as your asset accounting, fixed asset accounting. I'm going to be using the concept called as the reconciliation between the asset accounting to my general ledger accounting. This statement is called as the reconciliation. This statement is called as the reconciliation. How many of you know what is a reconciliation? Every day end, I'm going to be getting the reconciliation statement from my bank account. In a day, I have done so many inflow of the cash flow and outflow. I issued some checks. I've done some wire transfer. I issued some cash payments, whatever maybe. I have done many transactions in my bank in a day. Finally, I'm going to be getting one reconciliation statement from the bank. What is the opening balance and what is the closing balance today, Mr. Mahesh, in your bank account? That is the reconciliation. Now, what is SAP is telling now? Very, very important here. This is called as very, very important. This is what exactly it is going to be called as a architecture, what you are going to be using in your classic financial accounting. Always you see there is a reconciliation is going to be happen to your general ledger accounting. Any financial transactions you're making in the controlling, any financial postings you're making in the COPA is nothing but profitability analysis. Any financial transactions you're making in asset accounting or metal ledger, in every component. Finally, those financial accounting entries has to be get reconciled and it has to sit in my general ledger accounting. If there is no reconciliation, then I cannot do the month-end closing activity. Then I cannot control the month-end closing activity. Let me take one example now, asset accounting. What is asset accounting? Fixed asset accounting. I'm acquiring an asset. I'm acquiring an asset from the vendor. I'm acquiring an asset. Which asset? I'm acquiring a building. I'm acquiring a building from vendor. I'm purchasing a building from the vendor. Very, very important. What you mean me to call it? It is going to be called as acquisition. You're acquiring a vendor. So what is happening? You're posting an accounting entry. What is that accounting entry? Yes. Which account you are going to be debiting? I'm debiting my building. What is the debit which comes in? What is a credit which goes out? There are basic principles are there in the debit and credit. What is the debit? When you can call it as a debit, which always comes in, is called as a debit. What is a credit which always goes out? Debit is the receiver, credit is the giver. Debit is the receiver and credit is the giver. Very, very important. My company has created the salary. Means my company has given some amount to me. Means I am the receiver. Mahesh, your bank account got debited with so and so amount. Your company has created the balance. Means company is the creditor. Mr. Mahesh account is going to be called as a debitor. So here, when I'm acquiring an asset from the vendor, which account you are debiting, what you are receiving, your buildings are going to be receiving. So your building account is going to be the debit with how much amount? With for example, $10,000. Example, just make it, just don't take it again, it's just example. Very, very important. $10,000. Very, very important. Means your building account is a GL account. Anybody can tell me building account is a GL account?
No, it's an asset account.
It's an asset. It is not a GL account. It is an asset. Very, very important. GL account is a different and your asset account is going to be the different. And I'm debiting $10,000 and which account I need to credit here? I need to credit the vendor account. Vendor account means he is the giver, not? He is the giver. So vendor account is going to be the credit with same $10,000. Now here, if you see here, my debit is always equal to my credit. This is called as a financial transaction. This is what exactly you call it as a financial accounting entry. Where you posted this financial transaction got posted in my asset accounting. Very, very important. Not in the GL. Very, very important. Very, very important. So when I open this document, a document number will be generated for every financial transaction. A document number will be generated. What is the document number for this? A document number is a 101 document number. This is the document number. If I open this document in SAP, if I go and open this document in SAP, this document consists of two different views will be there. This document consists of two different views. Very, very important, my dear friends. This document consists of two different views will be there. I don't know, something has happened. If I open this document consists of two different views will be there. What is the view? The view one is called as the entry view. The view one is always going to be called as the entry view. The view two always will be consist of general ledger view. This general ledger view is nothing but your reconciliation. This is called as the entry view. This is called as the entry view, and this is called as the GL view. This is called as my GL view. Every document you open in SAP, whichever the financial accounting entry, the document consists of two views will be there. One is going to be called as the entry view. Another one is going to be called as the GL view. Now, very, very important here. So I'm using a concept called as the reconciliation. Reconciliation between asset accounting to my general ledger accounting, because asset accounting is the sub ledger and the GL is always going to be called as the main ledger. Very, very important. I'm using a one more important word called as the main ledger, and this is called as the sub ledger. This is called as the sub ledger. This is called as the sub ledger. So I'm seeing the reconciliation between the sub ledger to the main ledger. Why it has to be reconciled? The central tenant of total accounting system, you're going to be calling it as the GL. Finally, all the GL accounts has to be get reconciled to my general ledger. Then only I can prepare my P&L account and balance sheet. If I don't find the reconciliation process, I cannot prepare my P&L account and balance sheet. So that is the reason I'm developing a reconciliation between the asset accounting and the general ledger. Now see here the common point. How the entry... Yes,
sorry, question on that really. So does that mean all the reports and everything comes out of that GL, not from the AA, not from the asset accounting?
I'll tell you both of things. Yes, good point, sir. So I want to see the asset accounting report. I want to see the GL report. So when you call it as the asset accounting report, what is the total balance in this asset? If I go and open the building account, what is the total balance in the asset, sir? I see that asset accounting report here, $10,000 or not? This is asset report. So the same balance I would like to see in my general ledger. So your GL account also should show the same thing. So the GL balance should also match with your asset balance. Means I can see there is a complete reconciliation is developed between the asset accounting and the GL. So the asset accounting showing as the 10,000 balance, either you execute the report, the same account when I'm executing in the GL point of view, the GL is also showing the $10,000. Yes, your GL report is different and your asset accounting is different, but both has to be matched. If there is any mismatch is there in the amount, there is no proper reconciliation has been went between the asset accounting and the GL. That I'll take care, sir. I'll explain. Okay, that let me complete this point and I'll go back. Okay. Now, I'm talking about the two views. Why there should be a views will be there? Why there should be a two views will be there in a document? I'll tell you now. What is the entry view? What is the entry view? Anybody?
It's actually for
It's
the
a
open item.
sub-ledger view.
Entry view is always called as the sub-ledger view. Excellent. Okay, I can call it as the sub-ledger view. Okay, now when I go to the entry view, can you tell me this, how this entry view look like when I open this document? When I'm opening this document 101, how this entry view look like for this particular document? Tell me how it look like in the entry view.
It will be document type, posting date, company code.
No, that always still comes at the header. I'm not talking about the header level. I'm talking about the line item level.
It will give the asset number first and then the vendor number.
Asset and vendor. Very good. Okay, very good. So in this, if you see these accounts, see, I'm not talking GL accounts or vendor accounts or customer accounts or asset accounts. I'm just using a word called as the accounts. Accounts. How many accounts are there in this?
Two.
What are those two accounts? Tell me now.
One is building account and another is vendor.
No.
Building means asset. That is
asset. That's what I want here. Asset account. There are no GL accounts here. Are you seeing any GL account in these two line items? One is a building account, is the asset account. We call it as the A. A is called as the asset account. And when you call it as a vendor account, very, very important, it is going to be called as the K. In SAP language, it is called as the K. Vendor account type, K. Asset account type, A. So there is no GL account. Vendor account is there and the asset account is there. So when you go to the entry view, it looks very similar what the transaction has got posted as a sub ledger. Very, very important. Same thing like this. It will show like it's an entry view. This is how it looks like in the entry view. Same thing. No GLs. How the document has got posted in the subledger, same accounting entry I see in the entry view. But when I'm shifting the entry view to the GL view now, I want to make it as the GL. Why? Because there should be a reconciliation should be happen between the asset accounting and the GL. Now the reconciliation is coming into the picture. Now there is a reconciliation is going to be coming into the picture. Now tell me now how it looked like in the GL view now. Anybody? Is it the same? Is it the same like entry view, or there's something like when you are going to be calling it the GL view, it is going to be the difference?
Show the GL account of like buildings account.
Recon
And-
accounts. It will be with the recon account.
Recon account. Very good. Somebody has told about the recon account. That is very, very important. So in the GL view, we will see the recon account for the building, and we can see the recon account for the vendors. There are two recon accounts are there. One is especially for the assets. Second one is especially for the vendors. Very, very important. So when I change the view from the entry view to the GL view, instead of with A and K, A is nothing but assets and K is nothing but a vendors, it will come with S and S. S is nothing but a GL. S is nothing but a GL. A is for the assets and K stands for vendors. Now, when I change it to the GL view, it look like this. Instead of coming with the vendor account, it will get debited with the reconciliation account. Okay, recon account in a bracket. Just I'm writing building recon account. Okay, building recon account. Recon account is getting debited. And which recon account is getting created? Another recon account is also there. Which is the recon account? Another recon account is nothing but vendor recon account. Very good. Vendor recon account. Okay, vendor recon account is getting created. So both are the GL accounts only. When I'm seeing a GL view, you cannot see any subledger accounts. Entry view, you can see the subledger account, vendor account and the building account. But when you're changing the entry view to the GL view, both are going to be called as the recon accounts only. There is no subledgers here. Both are the GL accounts only. GL accounts means recon account for building and the recon account for the building. And here I can see it is a $10,000 which is got debited and the $10,000 which is got created. $10,000 which has got created. Very, very important point. This is very, very important. Now, when you see the subledger balance, the subledger balance of your building account is the 10,000. And when you want to see the reconciliation balance for the recon account, the balance is going to be showing as the 10,000. So the recon accounts are going to be built on the GL and the subledger accounts are built in the asset accounting. Because asset accounting is always called as the subledger and your GL accounting is always going to be called as the main ledger. So for every transaction, I will see the reconciliation is going to be happen between the subledger to the main ledger, subledger to the main ledger. Not only for asset accounting, if I go to the another component called as accounts payable. What is accounts payable? Creditors. If accounts payable, if I go to one more component which is going to be called as account receivable, these all are nothing but we are going to be calling them as the subledgers. We have a different subledgers we have a different subledgers we are going to be having. So these all are finally what is happening. It is getting reconciled to my general ledger or not. Finally, it has to come and sit. There is a central database system which is completing for the GL accounting. So why do the reconciliation should be done? What is the purpose of doing the reconciliation to your general ledger? For the preparation of P&L account and balance sheet. I cannot extract the P&L account and balance sheet from the subledger level. Your P&L account always should be extracted from the GL. Why? Because your P&L accounts and balance sheet always will be built based on the GL accounts. Will be based on the GL accounts, not the vendor accounts, not the customer accounts. You're preparing your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet based on the GL accounts. So finally, I would like to see the reconciliation should be happen to my general ledger accounting. So GL view is a very, very important for me. GL view is a very, very important for me. And this GL view is going to be stored in which table now in SAP S4HANA? The GL views are going to be stored in ACDOC8 table from today onward. This is called as the doka. Very, very important. Very, very important. Earlier, when you go back to your SAP ECC, the GL views are going to be stored in which table?
It was Fagel Flex, I think, Mahesh, right?
Very good.
DKPF.
Very good. Very good. Very good. FAGLFLEXA, Flagel Flexa. What is the Flagel Flexa? New GL accounting table. Okay, FAGL is nothing but new GL accounting. Flagel Flexa is nothing but accounting document actuals. A stands for actuals. There is one more table is also called as Flagel Flexa. That is going to be called as the total table. Flagel FLEXT.
Yeah,
This is
which
called
was
as the
the
total table.
GL0 for the ECC, right?
Exactly,
old one.
exactly, exactly. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I'll tell that point. Very good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, earlier, GL views are going to be stored in which table called as the Flagel Flexa. Now, what is this BSEC table is going to do now? There is a point called as. Just now you told Mr. Mahesh, you have the BSEC table and you have the AC DOCA table. Both are line item level tables only. AC DOCA table. Both are line item level tables only, Mr. Mahesh. Why do you require the BSEC table now? BSEC table will always stores the information related to your accounting. Very, very important. This is entry view. BSEC table will always store the data about the entry view. Entry view will not contain the ledger. Very, very important. What is the ledger? BSEC table. Earlier we have the BSEC table. Earlier we have in SAP ECC, we have the BSEC table, but it is not a ledger table. It is not a ledger table. LEDGER, ledger table. There are two types of ledgers we are going to be talking. One is going to be calling it as the leading ledger. I'll tell in the class. This is not a class. This is just I'm explaining the concept. Okay, this is not the actual class because we have a separate concept on the ledgers. And one more is going to be called as the non-leading ledger. One more is going to be called as the non-leading ledger. I'll tell the concept. Wait, don't worry. Just wait for some more days. Okay, it will. Your concept will come. Okay, leading ledger and the non-leading ledger. Very, very important. When a document has got posted, any document you are posting in SAP, the document will be get posted to the leading ledger. That is going to be called as a 0L. And there will be a non-leading ledgers. You are going to be creating example L1 or L2, whatever maybe. Example, just an example. So when a document got posted, the document is getting posted in two ledgers. One is the OL, another one is the L1. So in the GL view, when you shifting your entry view to the GL view, I can see the documents are getting updated to the ledgers. But in the entry view, no ledgers because BSEC is not a ledger specific table. Very, very important, my dear friends. BSEC is not a ledger specific table. BSEC is the line item level table for the sub ledger accounting. See here, I'll show the proof. Example, I'll show one example. There are so many subledger trans. These all are going to be called as the subledgers. Vendor document. These all are going to be called as a vendor document types KR. Okay, let me open one document. Okay, I'm open one document. See here, this is the document. This is the document. Very, very important point. Very, very important. This is the document. What is the document number? 190009 is the document number. You can see this is the document number. What is the document number? 101 is the document number. Same thing I'm showing here. This is my document number. And you can see here, it is the entry view. All of you see here, it is going to be called as the entry view. Everybody, you can see entry view. And this is the document header. This is the document header level. Every document consists of two important compartments. One compartment is going to be called as a document header. And the second compartment you're seeing here, this is called as the document line item. Two boxes are there. First box always talks about the header. And the second box always talks about the line item. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important here. Now, when you see this document, very, very important. This is a subledger account. 173001 is going to be called as a domestic US supplier. This is what exactly you call it as a supplier account. It is not a GL account. It is a supplier vendor account. And the second one is going to be called as a credit debit account is going to be called as a sales commission account. This is called as the GL account. Very, very important. This is the entry view. This is the entry view. You can see this is the entry view. Entry view look like one is the vendor account, another one is the GL account. But if I'm changing to the GL view, see here. If I'm changing to the GL view, see here. Now I'm seeing the ledger or not. See here, you can see the ledger. In the entry view, I don't see any ledgers. In the entry view, I don't see any ledgers here. But if I'm changing the entry view to the GL view, I see the ledger is coming and hitting over here. How many ledgers it has got posted? Might be it has got posted with a different ledger, V2, OL, like this. You can see how many ledgers it has got posted, because it has got posted to the 2 ledgers. And I can see this is my ledger view. In the ledger view, you can see here, 2110000. It is a payable account. This is called as a reconciliation account. If I'm changing to the entry view, see this 2110000 is a GL account. It is a payable account. It is a reconciliation account. If I change it to the entry view, see it is changing to 173001. It is going to be called as a domestic US supply. So what is here? So these domestic supplier accounts, very, very important, is the subledger account where I can see the balances here in the accounts payable. This is the domestic US supplier account. For the same account, I'm assigning one recon account to the vendor account. What is the recon account? If I change it to the GL account, this is my recon account. This is my recon account, 211000. This is my recon account. The recon account is going to be displayed here, not in the general. See the important point now. So in the AP, 173001 is going to be called as the vendor account, but in the GL, this 121100 is called as the recon account. So I would like to see the reconciliation is going to be happening or not between the AP to the GL. Yes, the reconciliation is happened between the AP to the GL, and the balance between the recon account and the vendor account should match with 10,000, whatever the balance you are posting here. So entry view will be there, ledger view will be there. Ledger view always will be get posted to the ledger, and entry view will never contains any kind of ledgers. Please, very, very important. So many people will do the mistake here. Entry view will never contains any ledger. Entry view always will come from the subledgers. Always remember that. Entry view will always comes from the subledger. So if you're looking at the entry view, means you're looking at the entry view in the subledger wise. Very, very important. Subledger means your vendor account. Whereas when you're moving from the entry view to the GL view, then I can see the ledgers are getting updated, whether it is a leading ledger or whether it is a non-leading ledger. So what is SAP is telling me now? AC DOCA table is a new universal general entry table for the ledger view. Very, very important. So I need to talk about the AC DOCA table. Very, very important. I need to talk about the AC DOCA table. So what is understanding here? What do you see about this particular diagram here? Yes, earlier we are going to be using the reconciliation process between the subledger to your main ledger. Now today in SAP S4HANA, what is SAP is telling? I don't require any kind of reconciliations, Mr. Mahesh, from today onwards. No reconciliations are going to be required. I'm removing the reconciliation process from today onwards. No need to do any kind of reconciliation. Your month-end closings are going to be happen very smoothly now. Earlier, every time before the month-end closing activities come, before I do the month-end closing activities, I need to sit and I need to do the reconciliations between the AP to the GL. I need to verify all the reconciliations, and I need to close my books of accounts. Today, you no need to worry about your reconciliations, because whatever the reconciliations I'm going to be developed earlier in SAP ECC, now I'm removing and I'm bringing everything into one table. Everything into one table, Mr. Mahesh. I'm bringing everything into one table. That table is going to be called as the universal general entry table from today onwards. There is only one table from today onwards, that is called as the AC DOCA table. Your GL postings are happening to the same table. Your profitability postings are happening to the same table, COPA, your management accounting, controlling, your asset accounting, and your material ledger. Very, very important. What happened to the AP and AR? I'll tell you that. What happened to the accounts payable and account receivable? I'll discuss. Why you're not showing that accounts payable and account receivable here? Anybody can tell me why I'm not showing the accounts payable and account receivable here in the diagram? Why I'm showing the management accounting? Why I'm showing the asset accounting? Accounts payable and account receivable is nothing but a subledgers only. So they are going to be stored in a different tables. Point is there. Why universal general entry table, DOCA table only show these 5 components? Why not with accounts payable and account receivable? I'll tell that one.
They are
I'll
always
tell you that one.
recon accounts, right?
It's the same one that was
Asset accounting is also a recon account only, no sir?
Recon account.
Asset accounting is also a recon account only. Then why I'm showing the asset accounting here? I'll tell you that. Okay, based on the data structure. Based on the data structure. Let me see like example. Let me see one example.
Mahesh, are we able to cover this tomorrow? Sorry, on Monday or Tuesday?
So you want to go? You want to leave, sir?
No, I was just saying you were not feeling well. That's why I'm taking care of you.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Just I'll take 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. Then I'll go for that. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay, I'll take only 1 minute time off. Okay, I'm posting a vendor invoice, sir. This is the invoice I'm posting. Your vendor account is getting created. Your domestic US supplier account is getting created, and your sales commission account is getting debited. This is the subledger. This is the AP subledger account, because supplier means subledger. AP means what is happening? Your vendor account is getting created, and your sales commission account is getting debited. Very, very important. See that. Now, very, very important. Now, after the posting of the document, my dear friends, where you are going to see the balance, in which tables you are going to be seeing the balances? Tell me. BKPF and BSEC or not? Definitely. BKPF header table, and the BSEC is always going to be called as the line item level table. Very, very important. BSEC is going to be called as the line item level table. On this top of the line item level table, you have these aggregates and the index tables. What is that index and aggregate? BSIS, BSIK. Two index tables are two aggregates and index tables are there. So these two tables are built on the top of your base BSEC table or not? Very, very important. So what I'm telling here is nothing but, even if it is a GL posting or whether it is a customer posting or the vendor posting, very, very important. The structure of the database tables will remain same. That is the BKPF and the BSEC only. Very, very important, my dear friends. If you're posting the GL, if you're posting the vendor, if you're posting the customer, these three, all of you remember that. All of you remember. If you're posting the GL accounts, or if you're posting the vendor accounts, or if you're posting the customer accounts. Vendor accounts means it is going to be called as the AP, accounts payable. Customer accounts means it is going to be called as the accounts receivable. Very, very important. For all these three different components, two subledgers and one main ledger, the data structure remains same. There is no change in the data structure, BKPF and the BSEC. But on the top of your BSEC table, I'm going to be building some index and aggregate. That is a different, but not for the GL. That is for vendors and customers. But the underlying database tables are going to be the same or not? Are you going to see the different tables for the vendor, and are you going to see the different tables for customer for the transactional data? Anybody who has already worked in the SAP ECC? No? I'm right or wrong? No. Same tables or not? For the GL, it is going to be the same tables. For vendor, it is going to be the same tables. For customer, it is going to be the same table. On the top of your BSEC table, you have the index and aggregate tables. Now, today we are not talking about the index and aggregate table. These two tables are not available. Example. So I already brought the BSEC and the BKPF at the GL point of view. I already bought that in the general ledger. If you see here, general ledger, I already bought it. So this general ledger is going to be covering both accounts payable and the account receivable. Why? Because your vendor and your customer transactions are always stored in the same table called as the BSEC table only. This is the entry view. So that is the reason SAP is not showing your accounts payable and account receivable in the universal general entry table when you are going to be combining. By default, it will come from the BSEC table only. So this point we'll discuss in the next coming class for all of you. Okay. Take care, all of you. Bye. Take care. Have a very good weekend for you.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.